Sahana vavatu Sahana bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we acquire the capacity to study and understand the scriptures. May our study be brilliant, and may we not cavil at each other. Om, peace, peace, peace unto us all. Brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to all of you. We welcome all of you for the online satsang of Sathya Center of Arcadia. Now, the series of study guides in preparation for the birthday celebration of Swami, where the theme is Happiness is Union with God. We finished 5 study guides. Hope all of us remember the topics. That is, what is happiness? Where is happiness? How to attain happiness? Overcoming the obstacles to happiness, and signs of happiness. Last week we did the signs of happiness. Today we are going to start on the guide number 6, which is our true nature is bliss. That means we are Ananda Swarupa. That is what we are going to start today on. This is the last study guide, but please go on to the website where all these study guides are posted, so you can go and study them and dive deep into Swami's teachings. Just briefly, I want to touch upon the last week's discussion, wherein we talked about how to be signs of happiness. Sign of happiness is being happy, being cheerful and smiling in spite of all the challenges, right? Anyway, coming back to the previous study guide we did, guide number 5, there we talked about signs of happiness. We talked a beautiful story how that Gopika Suguna, so just when she went to light her lamp, so then she saw the Lord Krishna in that light, and she was so absorbed in Krishna consciousness, she forgot about herself. That is what happens when you are absorbed in God's consciousness, Krishna consciousness, you will forget the body consciousness. That is the purpose. When you are forget this consciousness, the body consciousness, you live in bliss. So that is mainly to emphasize the point that always we should think about God. They say, think God, Swami said, think good, think no evil, think God, think no evil, hear God, hear no evil, speak about God and speak no evil, see God, see. So always saturate all our senses with the divinity, then we will be happy. So that is the main message. Now the final study guide today is our real nature is bliss. That means we are Ananda Swarupa, we are the embodiment of bliss. So bliss is nowhere to search, we are that, we forgot and we need to realize that. So we are going to start that today and we'll finish it, and then you have time, all of you, the coming few weeks, even go deep into the teachings.
Thank you, Dr. Reddy. Now we are starting study guide 6, Our True Nature is Bliss. Inspirational story. Existence is Sat, knowledge is Chit. The combination of Sat and Chit confers Tripti, satisfaction derived from enjoying the object. This Ananda is thus the very nature of every being. The divine pervades everything inside and outside. Awareness of the divine will confer bliss, but few are able to realize this. Once an individual unable to bear the financial difficulties in his family left home. Later, after earning some money, he set out to return home. His young son, who loved his father very much, was so grief-stricken over the separation from the father that he died. Before reaching his village, he took shelter in a caravanserai during a thunderstorm. When he went to sleep, he had a dream in which he saw himself as a king in a palace, sleeping on a royal bed. He was enjoying a luxurious life with many servants and 6 princely sons. While enjoying the dream, he was suddenly awakened by the sound of thunder. He wondered what had happened to all the beautiful things he had seen in the dream. He realized that it was all a dream, and there was no trace of the 6 sons. The next morning he reached his home. On seeing the husband, the wife broke into tears. On the one hand, she was happy over the husband's return, and on the other hand, she was filled with sorrow over the death of her son. The husband asked, "Where is our son?" She replied that he passed away, unable to bear the separation from the father. The man was stupefied. He did not feel sad or happy. He stood, transfixed like a statue. The wife asked, "How is it that you are not moved by the loss of the son whom you loved so much? What is the reason?" He then related to his wife the remarkable dream he experienced the previous night, in which his 6 princely sons were gone when he woke up. Quote, "Am I to grieve over the loss of the 6 sons, or over the loss of this one son? For whose sake should I weep? They were my children in the dream state. This son was my child in the waking state." The I consciousness which was present in both states is reality. All other things are transient and unreal. If people today wish to achieve spiritual bliss, they have to follow 3 principles. First, they must know what is to be known. Second, they must give up what has to be renounced. And third, they must reach the goal that has to be attained. By observing these 3, bliss can be realized. Divine Discourse, September 4th, 1996. Turn it over to you, Dr. Reddy, for comments.
So, yeah, this is very straightforward, beautiful, inspirational story. So, showing that everything is a dream. That is why Swami said, life is a dream, realize it. We know the dream we go through in the night when during our sleep. That we know as a dream, that is a night dream. But all of us take for granted that what we go through the waking stage in the daytime is real because it is tangible for us, we can touch, see. But even this is a dream. So there is a night dream, this is a daydream. So once we wake up from the night, the sleep, the night dream disappears. In the night dream, as this man went through, he was a king, he had sons. Even us, we may have different experiences, some good and some bad. But the minute we wake up, the night dream disappears. Same thing, the daydream disappears the minute we wake up to the consciousness, awareness, our true nature. Once you wake up to the stage of our Brahman, there is no more things. So this is all the projection of the mind. So this is as much a dream as in the night. And all the great masters who are like Adi Shankara, Ramana Maharshi, everybody has experienced this and told us to realize. And Swami, one time I had an interaction with Swami in Vrindavan, and then Swami was talking about many spiritual things, and then Swami emphasized this point, Narendra, that is night dream, this is a daydream. Then I said, Swami, then you are also a dream, because he is in the front. But Swami said a beautiful thing, yes, I am in all the states, because waking, dream, deep sleep, and the Turiya stage, which is beyond all the 3 states. That is what? What is that? That is consciousness. That is Chit. That is what is talking about I consciousness. I is there, so that I is the one which is dreaming in sleep, that I is the one which is experiencing the wakeful state. So that I is the underlying thing that we call Atma or consciousness or divine. That is what we need to remember. That is what Swami said, that yes, but I exist in all stage. We all go through this fourth stage. We should remember Jagrata, that means waking stage. Then we go to dream stage, Swapna, dream stage. Then we go into sleep, the Sushupti. And beyond that thing is called Turiya, something which is beyond, that is closest to the divine bliss. So that is why all of us want to go to sleep. Oh, I had a good night's sleep even for a few hours, because we go through the stage of Turiya where there is no stage of no mind working, no thoughts, no agitations. That is the thing, but we should be willingly able to go through that stage. That is what Swami was talking about. And also we know the story of Janaka, where he related the similar thing. Is this real or that real? Then his sage Yajnavalkya told him, sir, that is unreal, this is also unreal. Only you are real, the I consciousness. So that is the one. It is a very profound truth. It is not easy. We need to do a lot of spiritual practices to realize this ultimate truth.
Thank you, Dr. Reddy. So from last time we had 2 questions. Should we take them now?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So the first question is, when is Kali Yuga ending and when is the golden era starting?
So that is a question for which we don't have any answer. Swami never said when the Kali Yuga is going to end, because in the scriptures it is said each yuga lasts different period, like 5,000 years, and when it lasts. But for us, 2 things. As a spiritual seeker, we should live in the present. Swami says the present is the omnipresent. Don't think about the past, don't think about the future. Live in the present, which is the omnipresent, which is divine. So that is number 1. So, and also we don't have a definite answer. So for us who are spiritual seekers, the important thing is live in the present, make the best use of it, so that we saturate every moment with the thoughts of the divine. And coming to the golden age, actually some of you might have heard the nice bhajan, we are blessed, we are blessed, we are blessed. So when the Baba is here, that is the golden age. So the minute you are thinking about God, particularly we have Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, who is the incarnation of love and Kali Yuga avatar, the minute we are thinking about it, that is the golden age. Like even Jesus said that, seek ye the kingdom of God, and that kingdom of God is within you. It is not somewhere else. So the minute we tap into our divine bliss or the source, that means the minute that is the golden age. So golden age cannot come from outside. It is within the kingdom of that is within us. So no specific time period, but starts with each one of us the inside.
And there is a second question. There's a second question, Dr. Reddy. Can you please share a few examples of how to return to blissful state of peace and happiness when the mind is agitated? Often we make mistakes and get angry. But what is the way to get back into the state of communion with the Swami within?
Yeah, very important and very practical question. So as we talked about in the study guides before, the problem for a lot of us, the source of pain or happiness is the mind. That is why mano moolam idam jagat. The mind is the basis for the whole world. And the mind, when you turn towards God, it is not agitated, it is in bliss. When you turn towards the world, it gets restless, unhappy, and agitated. So the very fact mind gets agitated, source of anger, trouble, that is fact. That is why even Lord Krishna said, Asamshayam Mahabaho, Mano Durnigraham Chalam. He says, even Lord Krishna is telling, no doubt, mind is difficult to control and it is fickle. Mind is very turbulent, fickle. God himself is telling. But he gave the solution for the question somebody asked there. The solution is this. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha gruhyate. What is the solution? Oh Lord, my mind is fickle, jumping around, agitated, I get angry, I get depressed, I get worried, I have fear. These are all the various emotions we go through when the mind is not calm and stable. So how do you counteract that? Abhyasa and Vairagya. First you need to get detachment. Why do we get agitated? Because we are attached to something. Oh, I want this results. This should happen. So when that doesn't happen, you get agitated. So once you know this is all divine play, this is all a dream, that minute you will get relief. That it doesn't matter. This too shall pass. This doesn't, in the ultimate sense, doesn't matter. That Vairagya help. Second is Abhyasa, constant practice. Overnight we cannot achieve that because for so many lifetimes we thought we are this body, mind and intellect. We can't overnight get rid of that. So constantly we need to practice. What should we practice? Number one, easiest and best is repetition of God's name. Japa, that is the one which time-tested method, not only Hindus, but Christians, Muslims, Judas, everybody practices this contemplation of the divine name because that is a purifier of the heart and also yours stabilizes our mind. So the one is the easiest and practice is, that is why Swami says, whenever you get angry, so just say Om Sri Sai Ram, Om Sri Sai Rama, Om Rama, Om Krishna, whatever name appeals to you. Or practically he said also drink glass of water or go for a walk and get away from the situation. Those are practical. But as a spiritual seeker, repetition of the name. Second is analyze the situation. If the situation is something which you can improve on, we should throw all our effort to improve. If not, accept and surrender. Lord, thine will be done. This is the way it is supposed to have. I accept. Trust God all the time. He is the one who is running the show. And accept whatever he does. And then surrender to him. It's called trust, accept and surrender. If you know God is our own father and mother, then you need to completely, you will do what the best. Even our earthly mother and father, they won't do anything which is harmful to us. Why will God do? So first you should have complete trust. He is there, he will take care. Then accept whatever he gives as a prasad and then surrender to him, then we'll be happy. So that is the answer to that. In this situation, how to be blissful is number one, repetition of God's name and constantly practice that everything happens by God's will and that is for our good, and trust whatever happens as his prasad. Then we won't be really unhappy. We'll be happy. We'll be in bliss all the time because there is nothing we crave for, nothing we detest. Now you can continue. Now we'll finish the questions, right?
Yes, we finished the questions.
Okay, now continue.
Now we'll start study guide. Our true nature is bliss. 4 bullet points. First, what is it that has to be known? What is this world? How long will I live? We see many passing away. Coming and going are continually happening. When the transient nature of the physical world is understood, bliss will be realized. Second point. Next, what is it that you have to give up? The delusion under which what is unreal is considered real and what is real is treated as unreal. People consider that they are in the grip of Maya and that they are caught up in misery. Misery has no limbs to hold you. It is you who are hugging misery. This is due to your ignorance. When you get rid of this ignorance, you will experience bliss. Third point. What is the goal you have to reach? You have to go back to the source from which you came. You have come from the Atma and you have to return to the Atma. This is what the Upanishads sought to convey when they declared Asatama Sadgamaya. Lead me from the unreal to the real. Where there is truth, untruth exists as its shadow. Fourth, birth and death are incidental to the body alone. Yourself has neither birth nor death. What is born, the body dies. Death relates to the body and not to the Atma. The Atma is eternal. It is the truth. You have to acquire this awareness to experience lasting bliss. To experience permanent bliss, one has to develop firm faith in God. Sathya Sai speaks September 4, 1996. Everything emerged from the ocean of truth, knowledge, bliss, Satchidananda. When you realize this truth, the fountain of bliss will emerge from the lake of your mind, Manas Sarovar. Bliss, Ananda, results when truth, Sat, and knowledge, Chit, come together. Sat means truth, Chit means knowledge. When they combine, they give the experience of bliss. Bliss is your real form. Sathya Sai speaks August 1st, 1996. Bliss is latent in everyone, but man is unaware of this truth. One should make every effort to manifest one's innate bliss in him. What is the nature of this bliss? Nityanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dandatitam. God is the embodiment of eternal bliss. He is wisdom absolute, beyond the pair of opposite. It transcends duality. So long as one is immersed in duality, one cannot experience bliss. Sathya Sai speaks January 14, 2005. The yearning for bliss is the best proof of our holy nature. Man is bliss. He seeks bliss. Bliss is blessedness for him. Since God is bliss, happiness is union with God. Nothing else can award that joy, which is unaffected by whatever happens or does not happen. Sathya Sai speaks December 25, 1982. Next section. Know this and be happy always. Always be happy and cheerful, for your innate nature is bliss. You need not go in search of happiness. Bliss emerges out of Atma, self. Whenever you wish for it, you will get it. Happiness is union with God. Therefore, always be in the company of God. Once you are in the company of God, happiness will follow you like a slave. Sathya Sai speaks January 1st, 2003. When man constantly remembers that he is the embodiment of Satchit Ananda, being, awareness, and bliss absolute, in due course he will experience that bliss, that Ananda. Sathya Sai speaks February 25th, 1998. Everyone should strive to manifest the bliss that is natural to him by fostering his loving nature. Peace lies in that bliss. Sathya Sai speaks February 25th, 1998. The bliss in which the person of steady wisdom is immersed does not arise from external objects. That person has no need of them either. Bliss is in everyone as part of their very nature. Those with pure consciousness find the highest bliss in the realization of their own reality, the Atma, self. Gita Vahini, chapter 5. There is nothing to be gained except awareness of what already is. Simply be. That is the state of bliss, of peace, of truth and love. Sathya Sai speaks May 11th, 1971. Always keep your thoughts steadily fixed on the divine power that fills your heart with bliss. The divine power is infinite. The more you contemplate on the divine, the more and more the bliss gets multiplied. Sathya Sai speaks January 1, 2003. This completes Study Guide 6. We turn it over to you, Dr. Reddy, in the interest of time.
Okay, good. So these are very concentrated message. It is like nectar. So really every word we read it because in the interest of time, as Anupam was talking about, because we wanted to finish all the 6 study guides before the birthday. But Swami's message is eternal. There is nothing like time limit only for birthday. This is to just stimulate our interest in what Swami says, but we have enough time to go and ruminate about it and contemplate and practice. Here, in answer to one of the questions somebody asked about control of mind, another thing in addition to what we talked about, repetition of the name of God, and this is another clue here, I get it, satsang, company of God. Next best to God is the devotees who always think about God. So be in their company because they sing their glory of God, they talk about the glory of God, and they do the work of God. So being in their company itself will calm your mind. So the company you keep is important because if you keep the wrong company, we have the story from Mahabharata how Duryodhana had all the bad company, so his mind was more and more polluted, whereas Pandavas always had the good company, not only good company, but God's company. So that is another thing we need to remember that will help us calm our mind. So the importance of satsang. And also here Swami was talking about the more you contemplate on the divine, the more and more bliss we get. That means we should think every moment in the day how much time we are thinking about God, how much time we are thinking about these worldly and unnecessary matters. So the more we go towards God, the more we'll get the bliss. Automatically we'll get away from these worldly bondage and grief. Because our very nature, as Swami was talking about, is bliss. But take-home message is 4 important points. Swami said that we put it in the bullet point. First, you know what has to be known. What is the know? What you know? This world. That is why Swami says you call Jagat. Jagat. It comes and goes. That is why it's Jagat. That is what Lord Buddha, before he had to renounce, he realized this anityam asukham. This is dukkhalayam ashashwatam. So this life is temporary and full of pain. So then he wanted to go in such a permanent bliss which he attained as nirvana, and he taught to people. Then what has to be given up? Given up what is unreal. That means this worldly dream, which is like a dream. That is what he says to given up. And what is the goal you have to reach? Go back to the source. We came from Atma. We came from Satchidananda. So go back to Satchidananda. So the whole thing is where you came from, you go back to that thing. And finally, the most important is to know that we are not the body. Because we are all have a beginning and end. He says, we think we are born, we are dying. It is so much we are body conscious, we can't but think that, hey, I'm dying or somebody died. But in the back of mind, you should have clear concept. What dies is only this body. The device is called Deham. Deham means something which is dahana, burnt. Shariram, it is also called. The one which goes down and melts away into the 5 elements. So, but the one Atma, that is why Lord Krishna repeatedly says that cannot be burned, that cannot be wet, that cannot be cut, that cannot be killed. So this is something beyond, that is eternal, that is Atma. That is the whole thing is that Atma Vidya, Brahma Vidya is to need to realize. So that doesn't come overnight. So you need to constantly contemplate on that I am not this body, I am the Atma, and for that all these other things help. Repetition of the name, study of the scriptures, satsang, having the company of the godly people, prayers, and doing selfless service because that gets rid of the ego. All these are the important things. When you do, then we will be in touch with bliss. So this is the important things. So as I said, these are all something to be contemplated upon. We did the enough Shravanam. Now all of you please do the Mananam. Contemplate. And more importantly, Nididhyasanam, putting into practice. The more we do and the more we enjoy the bliss. So that concludes our study guide.